Hi, welcome to Amanda's Book Corner. I'm Amanda, and this is my review of The Siren of Sussex by Mimi Matthews. This is a historical romance and the first in her Bells of London series. The book was just published yesterday, January 11th, and I was really happy when I got an early copy of the book. I first heard about it last year, and it's been high on my list, one of my most anticipated books of 2022, and so I'm so glad that it's out now because, spoiler alert, I love this book and I think everyone should read it. It's only in the last few years that I really started getting into historical romances, and this one offers a lot of the best features that I love most about the genre. But it also offers some extra stuff that I don't normally see, at least not in the book that I've read so far. So there is a lot that I love about this book, so settle in because I have a lot to say. So before I dive into everything I love about this book, let's look at the synopsis first. This book is set in 1862, and it follows 23-year-old Evelyn Maltravers. She's leaving her Sussex home to have her first season in London. The daughter of a gentleman, although untitled, her family is falling into financial ruin, and she's on a mission to find a good husband, not only for herself, but also so that her 4 younger sisters can have good prospects when they have their seasons. Evelyn doesn't think she has much to offer by way of conversation or by way of looks, but she does think that one of the best ways to secure a good husband is through her best skill, which is riding horses. In addition to that, she wants to make sure she looks her best, and so she decides to seek out a tailor who can make the best garments for her. She ends up commissioning riding garments as well as dresses from an up-and-coming tailor named Ahmad Malik. Ahmad is half Indian and half British, and he comes from a poor background. And in addition to coming from a poor background, he also faces a lot of racism. One of the things I love most about this book is that it is about an interracial and interclass relationship. And this is at a time, the 1860s, when it was a lot harder than it is now. I appreciate the sensitive depiction that the author, Mimi Matthews, portrays of Ahmad, and I like that she doesn't shy away from the racism and microaggressions that he faces on a day-to-day basis. The racism comes from people of all classes, whether they're poor like he is or whether they're upper class, and it also holds him back in terms of his career. Some of the people that he works with do not respect him and refuse to make his garments, but it also affects his life on a more general basis. Later on, when Ahmad and Evelyn are considering pursuing an actual relationship with each other, he really cautions her that being with him will be very difficult, in part because of the racism that he faces and that she will face by association. He won't be able to shield her from some of the slurs that he hears and the doors that close in his face about certain things. She also might lose some friends. Her being with a man of another race can be very complicated for her. Of course, it's much more difficult for him. He deals with it no matter what his choices in life are. But I really like how this book portrays it in a sensitive way, and both about Ahmad and his experiences personally, and how it might extend to Evelyn if she pursues a relationship with him. I also love how the characters in this book think about colonialism. A little bit of a spoiler, but later on, Evelyn wants to learn more about Ahmad and India, and she decides to read some books about India to learn more. She ends up getting a couple of books written by white British people, and she ends up being very angry by how colonialist they are and how offensive they are, how they portray Indians so negatively and racistly. And I like the conversation that she has with a friend of hers about their disagreement with colonialism in general. So again, I think it's really thought-provoking and an excellent take, and I'm really happy that it made it into this book. So in addition to being an interracial couple, I also mentioned that they'd be an interclass couple. I like how in this book, neither of the characters is super wealthy or even titled. A lot of the historical romances I've read thus far star one, if not two, titled leads, and usually one or both of them are wealthy. In this book, although Evelyn is the daughter of a gentleman, her family's money is dwindling, and she does not have a title. Likewise, Ahmad is poor. He comes from a very poor background, and he, of course, does not have a title, being half British and half Indian. I like how this book offers different perspectives on class and specifically on working. One side story that comes up involves Evelyn's sister and another man named Anthony, and whether they can even be together, and financial constraints are a big concern. As Evelyn explains, Anthony is waiting until he can get his inheritance, but from Ahmad's perspective, he's like, well, why doesn't he just get a job? Why doesn't he just work and support him and Fenny that way? So I think it's an interesting perspective, and personally, coming from a poorer background myself, I'm inclined to agree with Ahmad, although I can understand where Evelyn and upper class people would be coming from. But I do enjoy seeing these different perspectives on class and on working, and I like how Evelyn isn't afraid to work herself. When she considers a relationship with Ahmad and considers what kind of financial situation they'll be in, She thinks about how she can contribute financially, and she's not afraid to do some things that women aren't really expected to do back then, but she's okay with being a little bit eccentric and working in a certain way that can help financially. And now let's talk about that relationship between Evelyn and Ahmad. I really love that they always respect each other and they're always into each other. This isn't a book that has external conflicts or like a love triangle or anything getting in the way. I like that this book really focuses on their developing feelings for each other, and the problem really is society itself and how society will view them based on their differences in race and class. They have a slow build but consistently growing relationship, and I love how they move from respect to friendship to deeper feelings for each other. Another thing to note is that this is a clean romance. So a lot of historical romances I've read tend to be steamy, and although this one doesn't feature any steam and it is very clean romance, I did find that Ahmad and Evelyn had really great chemistry for each other. I felt completely satisfied with their relationship and the passion that they have with each other, even without having that steamy content that you see in other romances. They have excellent chemistry, and I love their relationship and their respect for each other and the conversations that they have with each other. They really make a wonderful couple in this book, and I found the relationship completely enchanting and satisfying. In addition to the male lead being half Indian, I also like that the heroine of the story is not your typical beauty. She compares herself negatively to her older sister, who is considered much more beautiful. Evelyn thinks that she herself is not beautiful. I also like that she wears glasses. I like how she's set up to not be your typical perfect, beautiful woman, but she still has a lot of wonderful attributes, and I like that Ahmad sees those attributes in her and amplifies them with the garments that he makes for her. Evelyn also has a great personality, and I love how she's so opinionated and so self-assured, and she's not afraid of hearing backlash from people regardless of the choices that she makes. Another thing that I really love about this book, and indeed one of the things that drew me to it, is the horses. You can see from the book cover that horses are a part of this book. I loved horses growing up. I read all about them. I had probably 150 or 200 toy horses and horse figurines. I've always wanted to have a horse, but I've never been able to. But I love that this book includes horses, includes Evelyn's love of horses, and is a little bit about riding horses as well. This is also how she makes her friends with other horse riding women. Evelyn's horse, Hephaestus, is an Andalusian, which is one of my two favorite breeds, by the way. I love Andalusians and I love Arabians. He's also a rare color for an Andalusian. Andalusians are usually more gray, but he's a blood bay. So I love getting to know more about Andalusians and also about writing. On a somewhat related note, I do like how each of her three friends, who, by the way, I expect will each get their own books in the future, but I like how each of her three friends has a horse who seems to match her in coloring. So Evelyn has auburn hair and her horse is a blood bay, so similar coloring. Her friend Julia has black hair and her horse is also black. Her friend Anne has blonde hair and seems to be riding a palomino, or a horse that looks like a palomino. And another friend of hers, Stella, has gray hair. Yes, she has gray hair, but she's young, and her horse is also gray. So I think that's a fun little thing that the author did there. But going more into their friends, I love the friendship that is featured in this book, and I expect in the whole series that's to come. This isn't just about the romance between Evelyn and Ahmad, although that is the main story, but I also love how it dives into these friendships that Evelyn makes with these other women while she's in London. These women also love riding horses, and I love that they're very intelligent and kind. I really love getting to know them here, and it makes me more excited to read their books in the future. Speaking of, the next book has already been announced. It's called The Belle of Belgrave Square, and it stars Evelyn's friend Julia, as well as the mysterious Captain Jasper Blunt. This book does a great job of setting up those characters in particular, and I'm really excited to see their love story when the book comes out in October. So I really truly loved The Siren of Sussex. I gave it 5 stars. Also, I am very excited for the next book in the series, The Belle of Belgrave Square. It comes out in October, and I will absolutely be reading it as soon as it's available. And I expect that the Belles of London series will have at least 2 more books after that. There are 4 friends, and so I'm hoping that there will be 4 books in the series. We'll see, but this one is definitely a win. You should absolutely read The Siren of Sussex, and I look forward to reading more from Mimi Matthews in the very near future. So I hope you enjoyed this book review video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. And to make sure you don't miss any more of my videos, please ring the bell to get all my notifications. I publish at least 2 book review videos like this one every week, and I also put out additional content weekly as well. So thanks for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!